Before getting started on this week's Parsha, please like, subscribe, tap that notification bell, and share with others. Now let's get into it. Parshat Tzav is found in Vayikra, Leviticus chapters 6 to 8, and returns us to the inner mechanics of the Korbanot, but with a striking emphasis: fire. Not just any fire, three distinct altar fires, each with its own role, discipline, and symbolism. The Torah's insistence on maintaining these fires is not merely ritual detail. It is a profound lesson about spiritual life, constancy, and human responsibility. The central verse sets the tone. A perpetual fire shall be kept burning on the altar. It shall not go out. 6:6. From here, the sages in Talmud Bavli, Yuma 45b, identify three fires on the Mizbeach: the Ma'aracha Gedolah, Great Arrangement, the primary fire upon which the daily offerings were burned; the Ma'aracha Shniyah, secondary fire, used to generate coals for the incense service inside the sanctuary; the Esh Tamid, perpetual fire, a constant flame that must never be extinguished. At first glance, this seems redundant. Why not one fire serving all purposes? The Torah, however, is teaching something essential. Not all fires are interchangeable. Each represents a different dimension of Avodat Hashem, divine service. The first fire is all about action and commitment. The Ma'aracha Gedolah is the workhorse. It consumes the offerings, transforming physical substance into spiritual elevation. This fire represents action, the daily, sometimes repetitive acts of mitzvot. There's nothing glamorous about it. It burns steadily, faithfully, day after day. The lesson is obvious but not easy. Spiritual life depends on consistency. Inspiration fades, moods shift, but the great fire must continue. The Talmud Bavli emphasizes that even if fire descended from heaven, as it did in the Mishkan, the priests were still commanded to add human fire. Divine inspiration is not a substitute for human effort. The second fire views inner refinement. This secondary fire provides coals for the ketoret, the incense offered in the inner sanctum. Unlike the public sacrifices, the incense service is private, intimate, and deeply symbolic of inner life, with its thought, intention, and prayer. This fire teaches that external action alone is insufficient. One can perform mitzvot mechanically, like feeding wood into a blaze, but the Torah demands a second fire, a more refined, internal heat that fuels the hidden service of the heart. Without this fire, religious life risks becoming hollow. With it, even small acts are infused with depth and fragrance. The third fire is all about constancy beyond circumstance. The Esh Tamid is perhaps the most mysterious. It does not correspond to a specific task. Its defining feature is continuity. It must never go out. Why insist on a fire that serves no direct function? Because this fire represents identity rather than activity. It is the quiet, enduring core of a Jew's relationship with Hashem, a connection that persists regardless of external performance. There are moments when one cannot offer sacrifices, such as today with no temple in Jerusalem, or feel inspired. The Esh Tamid says, the bond remains. The Talmud Bavli notes that maintaining this fire required vigilance. Ashes had to be cleared, wood arranged, attention sustained. Constancy is not passive, it demands discipline. Why three? If there were only one fire, we might confuse these dimensions. We might think enthusiasm alone suffices, or that routine alone defines service. The Torah separates them to insist on balance. Do the work, Ma'aracha Gedolah. Cultivate inner meaning, Ma'aracha Shniyah. Preserve an unbreakable core, Esh Tamid. Miss one, and the system falters. Action without inner fire becomes dry. Inner feeling without action dissipates. Constancy without either risks becoming inert. With the introduction of these three distinct fires, a subtle but radical idea begins to unfold. There's a quiet radicalism here. Even when Hashem sends fire from heaven, the Torah commands, "Bring your own fire anyway." In other words, spirituality is not something that happens to you. It is something you build, tend, and guard, and not with just one fire. 3. Because human beings are complicated, we need structure, inspiration, and identity all at once. The altar becomes a mirror. If your life only has one fire, something is missing. So the next time the verse says, "It shall not go out," read it less as a command about wood and flame and more as a challenge. Which of your fires is burning strong, and which one have you quietly let die down? Thank you for watching or reading this lesson on Parshat Tzav. Until next time, this is Shmuel ben Shlomi wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.